virtually at the film festival. I'm really excited about this. We have some fantastic female filmmakers that are going to give us some insight on their projects. We have people who are short filmmakers, people who own their own production companies, actors and actresses, people calling in from all over, from LA, Florida, Delaware. So I'm really excited to welcome you guys to this. We have some really great questions to get through, and we're going to go through this. We're going to bring in Elena. Hello.
Hi. My name is Elena Weinberg. Do you want to bring us all in first, and then we'll do our introductions?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. That's a good idea.
Okay.
Let's do that. Brianna, Kathryn. Hey, Kathryn.
Hey, Kyle.
And we got Anastasia coming in. Hello. How are you?
I'm great.
And we got excellent. And we got Janel. Hello. Welcome. And we got Sarah Donnelly. Hey, Sarah.
Hey.
Hi.
Perfect. Well, first and foremost, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We have some really good questions that we've gathered from people who are attending this festival virtually that I can't wait to hear your answers about. Before we jump into that, maybe introduce yourselves. Tell us your film and what part of the film or what role of the film you played in. So we'll start with Elena. Go ahead.
Awesome. My name is Elena Weinberg. I am the producer, co-director of A Room Full of Nothing, which is one of the narrative features playing in the festival, and I am calling in from Los Angeles.
Oh, awesome. All right. Kathryn.
Hi, I'm Kathryn Parks, and my film is called Her Place, and I wrote it, starred in it, produced it, and then I directed it, and I also directed it with another woman friend of mine, Elise Rodriguez. So, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Oh, fantastic. Anastasia.
Hello, my name is Anastasia, and my film, the name of the film is Lady Gaga, and I'm the writer, producer, director, lead, the editor of my film. It was film masters in York Academy.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's really cool. I'll go off to you, Sarah.
You can hear me now?
You can hear me now. Yes, yes.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So I'm Sarah Donnelly. I have 2 films in the festival, which is very fun. One is Storm Chaser, and I was the producer of that. And the other one is called Always, and I was the producer and the lead actress in that.
Oh, awesome. And for those who are watching, Sarah is an alumni at Fort Myers Beach, along with Kathryn as well. Sarah, what winner of the Best Short last year and the Audience Choice Award. So welcome back. Glad to have you. Janel, hello.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. Hi, I'm Janel Tanna. I'm an actress. I am also an occasional producer. I am involved in film intervention that's screening here at Fort Myers Beach Film Festival. I play Amy, who is the lead of the film, along with my wonderful co-star, Julia. And I'm also a co-producer on the film. So I've produced some other projects as well. Not screening here this time, but yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, guys, welcome. Again, I really appreciate it. It's good seeing you guys. I know I've met some of you in person, and some of you were meeting for the first time, so this is so exciting. So I got a couple questions, especially, right, all of you guys have really fantastic films, and you guys have accomplished so much so far in this area. So we're going to start basically about your films first and filmmaking in general, and then we have some really good questions around your female-driven projects and films that I'm really curious to hear answers of. So the very first question I have for you guys is, for you, your own personally, what makes films great, and are there certain qualities of a film that are better for you? We'll start this one with Kathryn.
For me, it's really all about getting lost in the story, you know, to feel like what I'm watching is believable, and it sort of takes me, I love like escaping into another world. So really that's, I think, the best requirement for me, and that's done with a lot of different techniques, you know, good acting, good directing, lots of goodness. Yeah. So,
we're gonna go with Sarah next. If that's okay.
That's fine. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, no worries.
It depends on the film. I love films of all genres, not super into horror just because I'm a little bit of a chicken. But I think the best films for me are the ones that touch on multiple aspects of humanity. So when you get something that has that perfect blend of having comedic moments and then heartwarming moments and moments where you're scared and angry, any of those things, it sort of gives you a more full breadth of human experience. Those are the The Life is Beautiful is my favorite movie. So it hits so many marks. Because of that, I just adore films that capture that. And I really love character studies. And, you read a script as a producer or as an actress, really, but, looking through the lens of making a film and something that really, if it pulls you in and you're able to read it all in one sitting and you kind of can't put it down, it's always a good mark of a project you might want to be involved in.
Awesome. All right. Elena.
Yeah, I mean, as an audience member, my favorite thing about films is story, first and foremost, and character work, watching great performances. But as a producer and director, I'm mostly on the producer side, so usually I'll be talking as a producer. For me, it's really like a team of people that I want to be around. Okay. I don't know. Of course, I want to produce good stories, but I also just want to make movies with people that are fun to make movies with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, spot on. Anastasia.
Well, I will agree with my colleagues that without story film, and of course, we film see the strong character and journey story. There's that. Interested in it, and I think story you don't have to film. That's why you do it. And in aspects of cinema, there's sometimes we watch a film. There's beautiful set of cinematography, but there's no way I continue watching because there's no story. So story, character, and history.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. Janel, you're up.
So what I like most about film, for me personally, when I'm watching or when I'm performing, I like to feel something. So if I'm watching somebody and they affect me in a way, whether it's, I'm upset after watching them or angry or happy, that's really special to me about film because it's a way to touch people and reach them and move them. And in terms of, what I like best about making films, there's a lot of different things I love about making films that's special to me. Again, like taking something and getting a message out in a way that's truthful but artistic, and really believing it yourself, and then having other people believe it as well. Minus if you're doing a kind of campy on purpose film, that's always very important to me. And like someone else said, I'm sorry, I can only hear half of the people speaking for some reason. I can't hear. Yeah. But I agree with the collaboration, having a great team that, that brings together a message, but it's also good sometimes when there's differences of opinions because you're only in your own mind. So it's good to have people that you trust, even though if you don't always agree, it's good because then I feel like you make something even greater. So I like that about film.
Yeah, no, I mean, all those guys are fantastic answers. So I want to touch base on your own personal stories that you guys have the films here. And please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if every one of you guys wrote the stories that you guys have here, but all of these have pretty strong female-driven lead actors. Was that something that you guys, before you guys went into that project, was looking for? Did that come later, or that was a bonus? Like, oh, this is great. Or is that something that you guys weren't even thinking about going into these projects? And we'll start with this time. We'll start with Sarah.
Well, I definitely was not the writer for either project. So Storm Chaser was written and directed by Gretel Claggett, and Always was written and directed by Natalie Shaheen. But you're noticing a theme. I really love to work with women. Right. So I am really drawn to women's stories and female talent and female, you know, in front of and behind the camera. But it's not because it's just like a woman's story. I think that the women's stories are universal stories. It's just that we have not had so much of a platform and don't get as much of a voice. So there's so much untapped potential in terms of storytelling, because we've had so many years of basically having our films given to us through a male lens or through a male storyteller. So we're not touching on some of these really important aspects of humanity that are now a little bit like, it's like we have this endless well of opportunity to be able to create these things. So me being drawn to both of these projects, because each one sort of tells a, you know, a story of a woman who's fearless in her own way, or having to conquer her own demons, or, you know, it's this, those aspects are really something that compels me to feel like I want to be part of this. So it was a no-brainer for me, both of those films to be attached to.
Yeah, awesome. We'll go with you, Kathryn, on this one.
Well, so I've done 2 films, and I wrote and produced and starred in both of them. And really, I was inspired to do that because I auditioned plenty, and sure, I booked some things, but I wanted a really great role for me. And I, you know, realized the best way to do that was probably just to write it myself. And I got that from my mother as well, because she's a writer, but she does more like musicals. And so there was really no barrier for me. It was like, okay, this is what you do. So it was really a lot about writing, you know, a good role for someone like myself. And then also people that I know and think are talented, and just finding a way to show their talent. So it is largely about women, because I'm writing it for me. But you know, beyond that, it's just finding good talent and giving them a platform.
Awesome, great. Elena, you're up.
Yeah, so I did not write A Room Full of Nothing. My husband did. We have a production company together, and we kind of go back and forth between producing each other's works. Before A Room Full of Nothing, we produced a web series that I wrote with a group of 3 other women. And our next project is probably going to be my next feature. So I definitely love sharing women's voices. This time I didn't. My husband Duncan tends to, just because he is a man, he writes through his male lens, and I love being there on the creative side with him as he's writing. I always give him notes and kind of creatively collaborate without actually writing it. And that's one of the reasons it was important for us to co-direct it, because we did want both of our lenses on this project, especially since Phyllis, the lead, one of the leads in our story, is such a powerful role that Ivy kills it in. So, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So I want to pause on that question, and we'll have Janel and Anastasia to start off these next ones. Sarah, you sort of hinted around this, right? Like a lot of the things that female filmmakers have been handed down is through the lens of a male. So I want to actually, this is a 2-part question, is do you guys feel a change in the industry are we starting to see more of that? And where do you see female filmmakers in 10 years? And where do you hope to see it in 10 years? And we'll start with Anastasia on this question.
Well, I understand the theme of our thing is female filmmakers, but I'm that one filmmaker who's not cutting out men and women. They're only good filmmakers or lazy filmmakers.
Yeah.
I don't know, at this unpredictable and hard time as COVID-19, what I see is changing, that we're going to be more filmmakers or multitasking, who knows how to do everything. As I see you girls are those filmmakers who can produce, direct, act, gap, I don't know, be a stylist, everything together. And I think it's our, in the next time, it's going to be our future, it's our time to shine for the people who not just only do one job, who can do multiple things together, and as independent filmmakers continue telling stories And it's not the time to fight as women makers. It's time to fight as filmmakers and tell more stories and best quality and way we can do that. That's what
Yeah. That's a great answer.
You just said something so inspiring, and I'm missing every other word. So
Yeah,
I can tell it's said with such passion.
I definitely think a lot has shifted over even the last couple years, not just in filmmaking, in general in life, you know, in a lot of realms. You know, I think I talked to you the other day, Kyle. I initially went into a very male-dominated medical specialty right out of medical school, being a neurosurgeon, and now I'm doing psychiatry. And so I've seen firsthand shifts that have been occurring over just a couple years time in terms of women, you know, rising to more opportunity, as more women voices are heard, and what society has in their mind sculpted as who's a filmmaker or who's this or who's that has shifted, because you can't categorize someone based on how they look or their gender. A lot of different people have things to bring to the table. So I do think I heard what you said, Kyle, about somebody, but I couldn't hear them speaking about how women, you know, a lot of films have been shown through a male lens, which is true. So,
yes,
you know, yeah, so unfortunately I can't hear Sarah, but I know what she's saying is fabulous. But so I think that that's very true. So on one hand, you know, I can't necessarily blame men, because they're they're speaking from how they understand things, you know, where they're coming from. You know, I certainly, you know, probably would write better coming from a female lens. That said, there were, you know, a lot of things in the industry which didn't necessarily allow women to get into those positions of writing and producing and creating those female characters that are not just one stereotypic, one-dimensional, but more multi-layered, complex, just like a male lead, right? So, you know, you have a lot of films, and they're great. I love our films by men, write about men, you know, that's what you feel in your heart. But you have the lead, you know, the complex, multi-layered, and then you have the pretty girl, or whatever the case may be. And I feel like as more women are able to write and get opportunities through their experience, you're now seeing women are human as well. And actually we're, you know, some men will even say we're more complex than themselves. Yeah. So it's an interesting shift to see. And I think that every female filmmaker, you know, I can't just pin down one, but I think, you know, everyone that makes a small project, a big project, a grand project, really puts a piece out in the universe, that affects somebody else, right? And always, you know, people think of huge blockbusters, and I'm sure people are talking to right now might make one day, but even a small little piece that you get out there is getting a voice out there. So yeah, that's how I feel. And for me, you know, I definitely have key men that I love to work with, but I definitely not for Intervention, but for Sienna's Choice and a couple other films that I created and produced, because I did not create Intervention. It was important to me to have a female director and a female heavy cast and crew, just because I feel like, nothing against men, but we just don't have enough voices that have been getting out there. So that's kind of my perspective on that question. Yeah,
absolutely. We're gonna go to Elena. You guys need to repeat the question too. I realize by the time that we get to you, the question might be blurred a little bit. You need to repeat the question.
I can't hear what everyone's saying. So.
Oh no. Oh, virtual technologies is where we're at with it. So Elena, what do you got?
Yeah, so I guess I'd like to answer the second part of the question. Where do I hope the future of female filmmaking is going? And I hope that it isn't a thing anymore in the future. I hope we are all just filmmakers, and that enough female filmmakers are making work that people are watching, that we don't need the distinction anymore. I think like it's very important to do that now while there aren't enough female voices being recognized. But I hope to see a future where that isn't a thing anymore and we are all just filmmakers. And I also would really like to see a future where we see a lot more women of color voices at the forefront.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We'll go to Kathryn and we'll go to Sarah. Uh-oh. We can't hear you.
I think you're muted, Kathryn.
Oh, okay, there we go.
I haven't been able to hear Kathryn the whole time, so.
Oh no.
But I'm sure what she's saying is wonderful too.
Thank you. Well, I agree with most everything Elena just said. I think in the future, I hope women are just out doing their thing and there's no qualification. And I'd like to see more women recognized as well on levels of awards, because I still think we have a long way to go there. And I'd like to see women directing giant action movies. And like I know one recently on Netflix was The Old Guard, which was directed by Gina Price Blythewood, I think. And she's a woman of color, and like she did an amazing job with an action film. And there was like a new level to it I haven't seen in a lot of different action films. So I hope it goes confidently in that direction.
Yeah, Sarah.
I mean, I kind of concur with everybody on this. It's like, it's part of a bigger systemic issue that we are not. Oh God, I'm scaring everyone off. What did I do?
Yeah. I think Anesthesia was having, somebody just wrote on that I guess they're having some sound issues. So hopefully I'll jump back
I'm
on.
hearing the same thing where everything is skipping when she's talking. So I'm like, oh no, I know she's saying
I'm not hearing. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. So essentially, I think like it's sort of parallel to what happens in society. We have a lot of much deeper systemic issues than just simply like we need another female director Oscar, check. Or sure, yes, also that, but we're talking about really from the ground up. We need this sort of society to understand that female stories and women's creativity are as valued and as interesting as anyone else's, because those are what sell tickets, right? And so everything, we're talking about, we're in show business, so it's really hard to get funding for female-driven content. But not just if it's like a women's story, but let's say it's a female director, you have a female cinematographer, you have a female producer. It seems like we have this little cachet of something that we are like capitalizing in. It's like, yeah, now's the time to be a woman in film. Well, sure, it's better than it was maybe, a few years ago, but there's such a long road to go because it's really actually quite hard. I've read some amazing scripts where you have, a couple things that I would like to produce, but I'm, beating down doors because it's a little girl's sports movie and not a little boy's sports movie. And people are not interested in little girls' sports movies. So this thing that I'm trying to help do, which is to create the change that I would like to see and to give young women better role models and to show them, the sort of them to have like the Sandlot of their time, or things like that I cannot get funding for this because I'm being told by the powers that be that they don't want to see. If it was a boys movie, they would sell, but we have nothing that proves that these movies sell tickets. So we have such a long way to go, which means it's daunting, but it's sort of this like call to action, so to speak, to like create stories. And if you can't get funding, figure out how to like make it on the cheap so you can at least get these stories out. Try to prove that you have an audience for this type of content. Try to get people in the driver's seat when you have a production, especially a production that has any funding behind it. So you can have a female director at the helm. You can have female talent at the helm. You can hire the female first AD who's just as talented as the male first AD. Start getting women into these roles, not over a man, but just making sure that there is still a seat at the table and still a voice in the room, because that'll create space where we just sort of start this slow forward momentum. And that's, my dream is to just kind of keep seeing that pull forward. And one day it's just filmmakers, it's just ADs, it's just actors. It's not separated into categories, but until we get there, we just all have to do our part to do whatever we can to beat down doors.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's really interesting, right? I think you see film festivals starting to go that towards something that you guys probably noticed in our selections this year. We have a ton of female nominated films, but also female filmmakers. We're actually at a place now where we're starting to require a percentage of each one, just so we can have that balance and be able to give that opportunity to everybody. You guys both hinted on some really great points, and I'm actually curious about this question. Is there any current female filmmaker that maybe strike you as helping raise this voice even louder? Whether it's the Netflix special you talked about, or any filmmakers that may have inspired you that's helping raise that voice? And we'll start this one with Janel. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm way through you guys.
Sorry if there's an echo. I went on the other. Give me 1 second. I was trying to hear to everyone because I can't hear everyone. So I went on my other computer, and I was, but now
I was wondering.
So sorry.
I can see who what guest pops up, and I was a little bit worried because that's fine. We had a situation. One of the panels, the filmmakers sent the link to this, thinking it was for people to watch, and we had someone's dad just watching us from the guest room. So I'm sorry to interrupt.
Great.
Janel, yeah. So, is there any female filmmakers that are currently striking you as raising the voice of this, or inspired you currently?
I think there's several female filmmakers that I work with, as well as people I've never met. So, I mean, our director of intervention, Linda Palmer, she really served as a huge mentor to me when I made Sienna's Choice. So I kind of had to be very persistent with her to get her on board, and eventually she came on board, and we developed a friendship, but also a huge respect that I have for her, just because well, not just because, but she really creates a lot of that is very meaningful with some kind of important message. It could be an important social message, a medical message, and it's really important to her to tell a very humanistic story. And so, she's definitely one. And, of course, Julia. And I think on the wider scale, Gina Davis has a lot of initiatives for female filmmakers, and really, she's an actress, but she's also really tapped into promoting women in film and creating all kinds of opportunities for them, and leading the way there. So she's someone that really strikes me as somebody, that I've never met, that's a bit more famous, that, is out there doing stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's awesome. We'll go to Anesthesia.
I was hoping you're gonna skip me because
oh no!
I don't know. I love Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Female,
Yeah, I don't know what to say in what sense.
Okay.
Know any names.
No, that's all right.
I love it.
We'll take that as an answer.
Don't worry.
Just, I don't think anyone does it. Yeah. So go to Elena.
Oh, don't worry. I'll say enough names for both of us, Anastasia. Because I was sitting here thinking about it. I got the moment. I mean, currently, obviously, Olga. Oh no, what's happening?
Oh,
can you hear me?
Oh, that's probably me. Sorry.
Okay.
Great.
Sorry, my mute wasn't on. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Unfortunately, she passed recently, but Lynn Shelton was a big inspiration. She was very much in the lane of the Duplass brothers and that kind of DIY mumblecore mentality that inspired me when I first started making films. Also, Reese Witherspoon and Jennifer Aniston with their morning show. It's amazing, and just helming that. Who else was I going to say? I was going to say so many people. Well, I said several people, so I'll let someone else answer, but I'm sure I have more.
All right, we'll go to Kathryn.
Yeah, I guess I would say I've really been inspired by going to all these different film festivals and just meeting women directors and women producers and just women of all kinds at these film festivals, because in many ways they feel just like me, but look at what they're accomplishing. And that's just been like all of you. It's just so inspiring to see other people that I have access to and can meet doing their, accomplishing great things. So it's just every festival is an education for me in craft and everything. So and then also randomly, I'll just add I got a gift certificate to masterclass.com if you guys have tried it, and there's some female filmmakers on there like Jodie Foster, I think, Shonda Rhimes, who's a writer as well, and just that they're so educational, and I maybe I'm just in the point where I'm still soaking everything in my life, that I really have found them inspiring too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah.
Well, goodness. Yeah, I mean, there's some phenomenal female directors that have really pioneered the way for everybody, from like Jane Campion and Ava, who's now doing amazing things for women of color. And I had actually tried to get her on a very large scale project that I had. Wow. And of course, she is like so sought after. She's so busy. But I would say her producing partner, Tulane, is phenomenal, and the things that they've done from like the 13th and on is just remarkable. Wow. Things that they're doing for people of color, things that they're doing for women. So I see her as somebody who is maybe slightly unsung because she's not the one who's getting the stuff on the shiny marquee name, but the things that she's pioneering there are fantastic. So I don't know, you meet really great women here and at festivals and just in life trying to produce. And I'm really inspired also when people have not produced before or not directed before. And when they are trying their best to not really take no for an answer and to knock down doors and to try to get their vision out there or to try to accomplish something that's in a place that they haven't been. I think it's really cool to find that most women that I've worked with, both Gretel and Natalie and otherwise, have been incredibly collaborative. And there's not a lot of ego. And that's something that I really admired about both of those women, who I now count as dear friends, but that it's just actually a really collaborative, strong, easy process in all of the difficulty of what it is to actually make a film and produce. But like the actual dynamic and the relationship is not the thing that's complicated about it. And that I love working with female filmmakers for that reason. That's
awesome. Yeah. So actually, to piggyback right off that question, because you sort of alluded at this, so actually we'll start this question with you, Sarah, is, right, what advice, because all of you guys have produced and created some really fantastic projects, so what advice would you give to maybe a current female filmmaker, or even a filmmaker in general, we'll be honest, what advice would you give them to help them get started in this field that you guys are currently in? So Sarah, we'll start with you. You sort of kind of hinted at that already.
Well, I mean, it's a very broad question. So it depends probably on what side that they're working on. If they're a writer or they're a director or they're, a first-time producer, what that is. I think that, I just touched on in the collaboration and what some of the women here have also talked about, that being part of the joy of the process. Really find a good team to work with. Don't be afraid to work with people that are more experienced than you are. Just work with the right people, trust your gut, be very careful, because anyone that you're going to bring into something that you've written or something that you're trying to raise money for, you obviously want to be able to have a really good trust, because you're dealing with maybe personal funds, maybe personal content, and certainly like possibly your vision. So you have to have a really trusting relationship. So I would say be very cautious with who you align yourself with, but make sure you align yourself with really good people. Because it's not possible to do everything by yourself. Something's going to be sacrificed. So if you really want to have a fantastic performance as an actress, maybe don't try to do all of the other roles of the project, because there's going to be something in yourself that you're going to feel like, I could have done this better, but I didn't have the time because I was the only one managing So I think that's, time management and collaboration are like a huge thing that can make whatever the main thing is you're trying to do really be elevated and lifted off the ground in the best way.
Absolutely. Cool. We'll go over to Kathryn next.
Yeah. Well, so from my perspective, because I've done basically crafting things out of nothing. So writing and then producing and then casting and bringing on a crew and all of those things. It's a lot of work. And I would say start with like who and what and where So like my second film I did, I I knew I had access to a really cool 1950s home, and I was like, okay, well, what could I write that I could set in this home? And then already that box is checked off, and who do I know that I work with that can help me do this and do that? And there's lots of like Facebook groups. I mean, there's a couple really good ones where I live where it's just filmmakers, and you try to get to know people and do other projects that maybe you're not taking a lead on in any way, so that you can meet people and get to know who's doing what, and how if you scratch their back, they'll scratch yours. Just kind of like find a community around you that does what you want to do, and then just start going in that direction. And then don't feel like you have to ask for permission to do anything. If you want to write a film, write your film. If you want to make it happen, make it happen. I mean, you just do it. Figure out a way to just make it happen. So
awesome.
Yeah.
We'll go to Elena next.
Yeah, I would say do a lot of work. Don't be afraid to make shitty stuff. Can I say shitty? Like
there's no answering this, so
yeah, whatever. Something that I found really valuable in the beginning of my time behind the camera, my very quick background on me, I have been acting since I was 3, went to college for acting, and then after college decided to start making my own work, and became a DIY filmmaker. And something I did in my first year of filmmaking was I made one short film a month for an entire year on like nothing, like literally $200 a film, just like with a crappy, at the time, I think like a Canon Rebel or something, but now people can make like great shit with their iPhones. So like just write little stuff and practice, and like don't be afraid to make bad stuff, because the first stuff you make isn't gonna be your Oscar winning film. But you'll never get to that Oscar winning film until you've put in the work, you find the people that you love to work with, you find your voice. You're not gonna find your voice unless you're continually crafting it. So yeah, just do a lot of work.
That's awesome. All right. Great answer. I mean, it's, yeah, fantastic. We'll go to Anastasia next.
Well, from perspective of director, producer, filmmaker, motivate yourself as if only you can do it. Never give up. For example, as I think of it as I am a mother of a teenager. She's sitting in the next room. She's 14 years old. And sometimes when I wake up in the morning, I'm 32. So like life is beginning. Yeah. Sometimes in the morning, like for example, at 6:30 when I wake up, I feel like what I'm doing, where to go. I want to give up. But because I'm the mother, I cannot give up my child. And the thing, just listen to me. I'm sorry for my Russian.
No, don't apologize for it at all.
Crazy idea, but I'm thinking of a film as if I'm the mother of this story. That I need to get a crew for it. I need to get a house for it, a location. I need to get the beautiful actors that's gonna tell this story. So I'm taking care of it as my child that needs to grow and eventually come into the film. And for that, I will do anything possible. I will do mistakes, but then I will correct them. I will give up at one point, but then I will tell myself I cannot give up because I want to tell this story, because I will do anything for that. And if I don't have a location, if I don't have the money, I will call my friends. I will do anything for that. And I will agree with Elena that don't be afraid to make mistakes and shitty films. Just do them. And each year, new film, each month, new idea, and never give up. Never give up. Only you can make it. Only you can tell your story. Only you. That's all.
That's Elena and Anastasia, both fantastic answers. I think a lot, especially in today's age where we're dealing with social media, it's really easy to look at other people's papers, as I like to say, and you start to compare yourselves to others. So I think that advice to be able to stay focused and keep your eyes on your own paper and don't compare yourself to others is fantastic advice. So Janel, what do you got? What advice would you give to future filmmakers? Uh-oh. Can she hear us? Janel? Uh-oh.
Sorry.
We can't hear you, though.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little choppy, but yeah, it's okay.
You can't.
Oh. Maybe not. We'll try to bring her back on in a few. Oh, we lost her. All right. So let's switch gears here. We only got a couple more minutes left, and we're going to switch gears to really sort of your projects and your films. I also, please make sure you talk your films when they're playing so people watching can see your films. That's, I think, is going to be an important piece of this. So what were some of your biggest challenges with the films that you guys currently have in the film festival? And you cannot use the challenge as money as an answer. There has to be another one, because we know that's the answer already. So we'll start with Elena on this one. I
mean, obviously money. But well, I've told the story of the weather before, but on our second day of shooting, it was the coldest day of the year in Texas, and everyone got iced in, and we lost 4 hours of our day, and we ended up having to add 2 days onto the end of shooting because we lost so much time in our main house. So that was a big challenge. Also, something I haven't told in this setting yet, a big challenge was Duncan, my husband, who wrote the film A Room Full of Nothing, was not originally going to play Barry, the lead, and we had some conflicts with the actor that we originally cast. He's great. It just didn't work out. But 4 days, and Duncan and I were planning on co-directing completely behind the camera because it was our first feature, and he was like, I don't know, I know I wrote this, and it is very much my voice, but I kind of want to be behind the camera and make sure everything goes the way we want it to. But 4 days before shooting, we ended up casting Duncan in the lead role. So I became kind of the primary director behind the camera when I thought I was going to have his support. I had never directed a feature before. And so that was a big challenge that I overcame, I think. And yeah, we're playing at 5 p.m. Florida on Saturday. So let me know what y'all think.
Perfect. Janelle, can you hear us okay now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. Janelle, the question I asked, and I'll have you answer this one next, is, right, we're talking about your projects now, is what was the biggest challenge you had to overcome with your project, and you can't use the budget as an answer?
Oh, you want me to skip over the other question before I?
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, just for time's sake. Sorry, we lost you there during that question.
Yeah. So for intervention, I was an actor. I was also a co-producer. So with that, I mean, your usual in terms of, budget, Linda and Julia, obviously did a lot of work or location at Linda's house. So I think the biggest challenge for me was mostly as an actor, and also, post-production stuff, promotion of the film, submissions to film festivals, things like this. I'm an actor at heart. I mean, I've also produced several films, but to me, the biggest challenge in any project is telling the truth. So whether it's from an actor or producer, I don't direct, but from an actor, producer, and I've written films, having the truth come across is the biggest challenge, in my opinion. Or the biggest goal. The other stuff is challenges, but to me, that's kind of secondary. I mean, there are things that you have to overcome and get in and could be a hurdle, but I always think every hurdle is you can find a way around it. So for me, that would be the answer. Sorry, I wasn't really expecting that question. So I can't.
Yeah, sorry,
another answer.
I probably lost you. I asked it, and then I was I just threw you kind of right under the bus there. Sorry about that. Anastasia, how about you?
Oh, well, of course, the challenge was to find the lead, which one I eventually became the lead, because my goal was, I have 6 years of acting school back at home, 4 years university, and when I came here in American New York Film Academy 2 years of acting for film, so I kind of knew that stuff. But my goal was to tell the story, so I wanted to be more in control of directing. And it was very challenging for me because for example, I needed to act with my kids' actors, and then I needed to watch it. And of course, we didn't have a budget for, even to put the big screen for me to understand what's happening. And that was a challenge. But because I casted my kids, I found beautiful actors, and I couldn't find the mom for them, the lead actors, the Anna. So when I was rehearsing with them, all my team were watching me working with my kids, with my actors, and they started doing this. And I felt this with my back. And I said, no, don't even think about it. No, it's you have to play. So eventually, and it was a challenge, a big challenge to act and direct and produce at the same time. So when I'm going to have more, like in the future, bigger budget, maybe I will repeat this experimental thing, right. But only 2 roles at the same time.
That makes sense. Sarah, what do you got?
Which film? Totally different experiences. Well, okay, so Storm Chaser, let's say, because that was the bigger undertaking. I mean, Gretel and I bonded over it, so there's the silver lining. We got this beautiful, spectacular film we're really, really, really proud of, but we also joke that we have PTSD from the experience because it was so unbelievably difficult. It was a remote shoot in rural Vermont. We didn't have proper cell coverage. There was poison parsnip in the fields. There was an actual tornado and a horrible storm that delayed us an entire day. We had, there was someone who was coming up from the city, had a car accident. We had people lose things with their families back home that had to leave production in the middle of production. Someone had near heat issues. The actors weren't as prepared in the moment. Some were really prepared. Issues equipment. Us trying to keep morale and make sure that we're making our days and get us to various locations and make sure that we weren't blowing through budget and all of the things. So it was really quite the undertaking to make this happen, because of course we have VFX and we have car chases and we have all of these big extraneous things that we're trying to accomplish, but we were not anywhere close to a film hub, and we weren't getting a whole lot of support at the time from the state. So it was really quite difficult. But she and I bonded through it. We got this beautiful film out of it. So I think that's one of those experiences where the filmmaking experience itself was such a tumultuous storm, because we were just fighting and fighting and fighting to make it happen, that what we did get is the beautiful thing, sort of the rainbow at the end of it, so to speak. Always was really a small and sweet experience. We worked with a really minimal crew. We shot in 2 days, a little under 2 days in Brooklyn. And so the challenge with that is to work in really tight spaces and with limited time. And we worked with children. So worked with everything from a baby to a toddler to a young child. So that was sort of the nuance of that one. But comparatively, working with children is a lot easier than working with actual physical storms in rural Vermont. So
I don't know, I got a 1-year-old right now, so I might challenge that. But well, guys, listen, we have time for one more question. And first off, you guys are extremely inspiring, and I'm sure the people watching are thinking the exact same thing. Thank you so much for joining us. You guys are always a pleasure to talk to. It means a lot that you guys are able to come on here and share your experiences. But I think the biggest thing about film festivals is being able to network and stay in touch. So I want to know, where can we stay in touch with your project? Because I'm sure the future stuff you put out is going to be absolutely amazing. So I'm just curious about where can we find you guys on social media, websites, and also just remind everybody your film name and when it's playing so those watching can give you guys a watch. And we'll start with Anastasia on this one.
Oh, my film, Late Again Anna, and you can find me on my website, annacofilm.com. Right now, I'm developing a production company in Miami, Sunny Isles Films, and we're going to help small businesses do a lot of short films and try to get for Discover together in Miami. So if you like to, and Instagram, it's hard to tell. It's Anastasia, so it's my name. If you want to find me, I will be happy to be in contact with you guys. And
awesome.
Very much for having me.
Of course, thanks for being with us. We'll go with Elena next.
Yeah, my movie is A Room Full of Nothing, narrative feature playing at 5 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. And I have a whole slew of social media, but personally, I am at Elena, Elena, is rad on Instagram, Facebook, and pretty much everywhere except Twitter. Twitter, I'm at Elena Weinberg. And my film has a bunch of handles too. A Room Full of Nothing is ARFON, the initials of A Room Full of Nothing, ARFON, ARFON movie on all platforms. My company is TurtleDove Films, and we are TurtleDove Films on every platform. So you'll find me one way or another on one of those.
Did is rad, was that taken on Twitter? Is that why you don't have that one?
No, so when I first got Twitter, I got Twitter because I was like working with this manager who was like, you have to be on Twitter and like you have to play the follow back game and get all these followers, which is why I have like 20,000 followers, but very low engagement because I followed Reddit 10 years ago when none of us knew how all this worked. And at the time they were like, your name has to be like your first and last name because when people are adding you, like, people want to know who you are, like a screen name or whatever. And so I made it Elena Weinberg, and then someone else took Elena is rad when I was like, that's bullshit. I'm going to go to Elena is rad. And now someone else has it, and she barely uses her account, and I want it.
Stolen, copyrighted for a while, right there.
Copyrighted.
Kathryn, where can we find you? How can we stay up to date with all the great stuff you're doing?
Yeah, well, first of all, you can find me in the state of Florida. I forgot to mention that that's where I live. I live in Sarasota. And then I wrote some things down right here. This is my beautiful handwriting. So you can see my film tonight at 7:30. It's called Her Place. Okay. And then my Instagram handle is at Kathryn Parks. Facebook is at Kathryn Parks Actor. And then I'm KathrynParks.com.
That's so good.
So,
awesome.
Very happy.
We did lose Janel somewhere in this, but Sarah, where can we find you and all the stuff you're doing?
Well done, Kathryn, by the way. Storm Chaser and Always are both playing at the Fort Myers Beach International Film Festival virtually on Saturday evening. I think one is at 5 and one is at 7. In those film blocks, but I can't remember which. So just tune into both because you want to support all these filmmakers anyway. And on social media, my production company is Palikari Pictures. So you can always go to the website or, add us on social media, which I believe that is it across the board, Palikari Pictures. And I'm Sarah D. NYC, if you decide you want to follow me personally.
How do you spell
awesome.
How do you spell the name of your
Sure. Palikari is Palikari. Palikari Pictures.
Okay. Cool.
Nice. Awesome. Well, ladies, thank you so much for taking the time out. You guys should be extremely proud of the work that you guys are doing. Again, everybody here at our festival loved your films, and we're super honored to have them. But please, guys, stay in touch. It was great. I appreciate you guys taking the time out.
Thanks, Kyle.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. All right, well, guys, that was fantastic. Some really great, inspiring female filmmakers. Please watch their films. Look at our website. You can find them all on there. Again, guys, my name is Kyle B. Thompson. I'm the programming director at the Fort Myers Beach International Film Festival. We still got plenty of film festival left, so stay tuned. Until then, guys, I'll see you at the movies.